Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Leanne and today we're doing another What's for Dinner and we're gonna get started with the first recipe. I'm just doing a chicken noodle soup, which I think I've shared before, but I will put what I do in the description box below anyway and just kind of walk you through it a little bit. Today is actually my 15th wedding anniversary and we were planning to go out to eat, but my husband has not been feeling great. He stayed home from work yesterday. He did go to work today. But I was like, he's still just not feeling good. So I was like, let's just wait. Like, I want to enjoy going out to eat. And so I thought chicken noodle soup is something I've been wanting to do for a while. Anyway, it's been a little bit since we've had it. And I thought that would be perfect today since he's not feeling well. So let's get into the first recipe. So I've got my large pot over at medium heat and I'm just going to drizzle in some olive oil and we're going to begin sauteing one small onion that has been diced up. I don't like the taste of onion if it is raw tasting at all. So if I'm adding it to a recipe, I'm going to cook it really well before I start adding any other ingredients. So that's just my personal preference and what I'm doing here. And get those nice and translucent. And I did have the heat up a little high, so they actually caramelized a little bit, but they tasted great. It worked great anyway. And I'm just going to say now the chicken I add later, I don't actually show you the process of cooking that. I just baked it in the oven, but you could bake it, boil it, use leftover chicken, use rotisserie chicken, whatever you want. You just got to have some cooked chicken. So now I'm just going to add in the 3 cloves of garlic and just saute that for just a couple of minutes. And you could also add in a couple stalks of celery if you wanted here. I normally do that, but I didn't have any celery, so we just skipped it this time. And then we're going to add in 6 cups of chicken broth. This chicken broth is stuff that I made prior from scratch that was just frozen, and I freeze them in 2-cup packages. So that's what that is there. It was still a little frozen. And then we're going to add in 2 cups of water and about a teaspoon of oregano and a teaspoon of basil, and then salt and pepper to taste. And I don't usually add pepper, but I did add salt. And once my my chicken broth was completely thawed, I added in 4 large carrots that have been sliced along with 2 to 3 cups of cooked chicken. And then we're going to let that just simmer until the carrots are tender. And I decided to cook our noodles on the side because I use a brown rice penne pasta that tends, as gluten-free pasta kind of tends to get a little bit sticky and gooey if you cook it too long or if it's in leftovers. So I just cook ours up just enough for that night's dinner, and I cook it separately. But if you're using egg noodles, just add them to the pot and cook, until they're done. And then towards the end here, I'm just adding in a can of corn. You could also add in some peas. I don't care for peas, so I did heat some of those up on the side so that my husband could add them to his soup, but I did not want any. And then I also decided to add in a few handfuls of frozen green beans just because we like our veggies. So I'm just adding those in now. They only took a few minutes, so I just did those at the end. But if you can really add any vegetables you want, and you could add the noodles right into the pasta or right into the soup if you use regular pasta. So this is my husband's bowl of soup with the peas, and this dinner was delicious. So for this next recipe, I'm making a baked lemon chicken, and I'm heating up my saucepan with some extra virgin olive oil, and then I have got boneless, skinless chicken breasts that have already been seasoned. On the side, I'm placing down with Italian seasoning and salt, and then if you like pepper, you could also do pepper, but I do not like pepper, so I never use it. And now I'm going to just season the other side so that they'll be ready when it's time to flip them. We are not cooking the chicken through in the pan. We're just cooking them for like 3 to 5 minutes on each side. And now in another dish, I am combining 3 tablespoons of melted butter, a 1/4 cup of chicken broth, about a teaspoon of minced garlic, and the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, which I did not have, so I'm just using a couple drops of my lemon vitality oil. And then I had some limes on hand, so I decided to just squeeze some of those slices in there as well, just because why not? So I'm just getting that ready. We'll be adding that in just a minute when we get ready to put the chicken into the oven. So once the chicken has been cooking for a couple of minutes on each side, we're going to move it to a baking dish. I decided to use this baking dish because I only was doing 3 chicken breasts, and since it would fit in there, I felt like it would be more saturated in the liquid I'm pouring on, but just do whatever you need to do based on how much you're making here. I can't remember if I said it already or not, but I will have the recipe in the description box for this. So that's going to bake in the oven for 400 degrees for about 25 minutes or until the chicken is completely cooked. Now I am just steaming up some broccoli. I just placed mine straight into a pot with a tablespoon or two of water. That's just how I do it. And then when it's cooked, I will drain the broccoli. And then I had roasted or baked some spaghetti squash, however you want to say it. And that goes in the oven at I think I usually do at 400 degrees or 350. I don't know. It probably depends on what else I'm making that day. And for 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the size of your spaghetti squash. And then I just flip it over and pull it away from the sides with my fork to kind of fluff it up. And here is everything finished. This dinner was really, really good. We really enjoy this chicken. I think I may have shared it before, but because I make it different each time, I figured I would share it again. And then we just had some grated Parmesan on top. Hey guys, so for tonight's dinner, we're gonna have chicken salads. I just got out of the shower, threw my hair up. I'm getting a late start because I went out to do errands and I ended up taking like 6 hours. And I'm hungry, so I'm eating some dried apricots. But I have some eggs on the stove here to hard boil. I'm doing a few extra so that my husband can have egg salad for lunch this week. But I have that going, and I need to cook up the chicken. I did use chicken tenderloins. That's what I pulled out of the freezer last night. So I'm glad I did that because those will be a lot easier, or a lot quicker to cook rather. I think I'm just gonna pan fry them on the stove, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna season them, so you can find out with me. Because I am a little bit running short on time, I might not actually have all like the measurements, and I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do, but I'll at least tell you what ingredients I'm using. All right, we're just gonna do some salt. I like to do salt pretty liberally on raw meat, plus my salt shaker doesn't come out super fast. I'm gonna do some garlic powder, onion powder. I like heavily seasoned chicken, especially in a salad. And then I'm using chili lime seasoning, which I've used a few times in my videos. I get this at Trader Joe's. I have no idea if anyone else has created a knockoff like they have with the everything but the bagel seasoning. But if you can find this, get it. And then once the chicken is in the pan, I will season the other side. So at this point, I had seasoned the other side, flipped them. The chicken's just about done. My husband's home, and he is helping me with the salads. He does the best job with the salads, I think, because he has the patience to cut everything up really small, which I like, so you can get a little bit of everything in each bite. Also, he just gets the ratios right. I always make my salads too big, and he just, I don't know, he just gets it right. So just the basic salad, nothing super fancy here. Lettuce, cucumber, tomato, carrots. We had some hard-boiled eggs and the chicken, and my husband added avocado to his, and I put some almonds on mine. And this dinner was very simple, but very, very delicious. All right, so we're making this pesto chicken that goes with pasta. I saw this on Sherry Harrington's channel. I will link her channel below. I will also link the recipe below, but I'm just putting chicken in the crock pot. We're going to salt that. You could also put pepper, but as I always say, I don't cook with pepper. It calls for lemon juice, which I do not have, so I am using some lemon essential oil. Not actually putting that much. That one is empty. So let me grab some more here. Okay, now we go. Now it's coming out. And a jar of pesto sauce. It said 1 cup. I'm figuring this jar is about 1 cup. So now we're just gonna add some slices of butter across the chicken and put this on low for 5 to 6 hours. Now, once the chicken is done, I'm just shredding it up with a couple of forks. I didn't want to scratch the crock pot, and I didn't want to dirty another dish, so I'm just doing it carefully right in the crock pot. Now I am just doing some freshly grated mozzarella, which is not easy because it's such a soft cheese, but I am doing it. And then I'm also going to grate up some fresh Parmesan cheese. You obviously don't have to do it this way, but all of the measurements are going to be in the link in the description box. And also don't forget to check out Sherry's channel, as I had mentioned. So I've got some water boiling for my pasta. Once again, we use brown rice pasta, which the recipe says just mix your cooked pasta in the crock pot with everything. I don't know if I'm gonna do that because I don't know if we would have leftovers of the chicken, and I don't wanna have leftovers of the pasta, if that makes sense. But I don't know, I think I'm gonna try it anyway, we'll see. I'm steaming up some broccoli because I just realized I did not have a vegetable prepared for this, and we have stuff for salads, but it's 7 o'clock and we want to eat. My husband just got home. So I'm just going to steam up some broccoli, and I've got some mozzarella and Parmesan, and I put some to the side. Probably won't need all of this to the side. I'll probably add most of this in the crock pot in just a few minutes, but I wanted to save a little bit on the side to sprinkle on top. And I don't think I have the right amount of mozzarella, which is fine. I'm thinking of adding in some feta, not that they're the same, but I think this would be good in that too. I don't know, typical. I am going off recipe because that's just what I do, but I'll let you know how it is. So I'm just adding in all of the cheeses into the crock pot with the chicken, mixing that well, giving that a chance to melt down a little bit. And then I'm going to add in the cooked broccoli. We decided to just add it right in. Thought it sounded good with it. As well as the pasta. I'm sometimes hesitant to do that with the gluten-free pasta because I just never know how it's going to work in that type of a thing. I always like it. We love it a lot, but sometimes mixing it with other things, if there's leftovers, it just can come out funky, but it came out great. We really, really enjoyed this dinner. This was so good. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you leave so you don't miss out on my future videos. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.